Okay, so I guess we are live. So, hey everybody, I'm Matthew David Hurtado, and today is exciting because I have Brandon Farbstein,
Yeah.
correct? Yes. And if you don't know who he is, please check him out. He has a TED Talk on YouTube. It's exceptional, and we're going to get into that right now. So, welcome to the presentation, Brandon.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here, and all of you. Let's give you a little bit of inspiration for tonight.
Yep, we were just talking about that, everyone. So I was listening to YouTube today, and I'm listening to Brandon and catching up on it. And it's very synchronistic because just recently I have several friends, and they've been having a lot of issues with kids that are in school because it seems like some of these kids are just so awful today, just as collectively in terms of how they interact. So bullying is what they call it, and
Yeah.
everybody's been there. But tell us, Brandon, what is it like these days? Because you're still a teenager, correct?
Yes, I'm 17.
You're
So,
17.
yeah, I'll give a little bit of backstory. At the age of
Yeah.
2, I was diagnosed with an extremely rare form of dwarfism, resulting in me being the height of the average 6.5-year-old boy for the rest of my life. Going to school, growing up, I had a pretty normal childhood up until the age of 10, where I finally realized how different I truly was in compared to all the rest of the kids around me because the height got more differential as they grew and I didn't. And depression hit me so hard. It wasn't little by little, it was one night. It took me, and I was minutes away from killing myself and ending my journey. Um, the bullying didn't start until about middle school, and it got really severe to the point where I felt like I had no friends. I felt like I wasn't safe. And I was going to public school up until this past Thanksgiving, so Thanksgiving of 2016. And the bullying went beyond that. It was now threatening my life. One comment that a kid made to me was, if this midget doesn't kill himself, I'm going to kill him. It was to the point I could not go to the restroom in school because I was so terrified of these people. And I finally made a choice. I sat down with my parents and I said, guys, I'm not going to walk out and be a coward like these kids are. I want to know how I can make this and turn this into something. And that's exactly what I did. So that Monday that I came back was my last day in school. I'm now doing online education where I'm able to continue doing what I love every day, living my purpose, but still continuing that education piece, which is so important, as you know. And in the past couple of months, I've used my story and testified at the Senate and the General Assembly, and we've gotten a bill passed that is just a couple of days away from being signed. So if you think that you, as one person in this world, can't make a difference and can't do something to impact, you are so dead wrong, because I am that one person. You are that one person who, if you step up, if you choose to speak up, you are going to be the one that changes the world. If not now, then when?
Yes. You know, you've come into your power, and that's what I've noticed is you, well, first of all, at the age of 2, didn't you know you started to do some acting as a young boy, and
Mhm.
you have a destiny. Obviously, you've discovered your destiny. So, what exactly is your destiny? What do you do on a daily basis, and where is this going to lead to?
Good question. So, in April of 2015, I was selected to give a TED Talk.
Mhm.
So, the 6 minutes that I was on stage was the start of the rest of my life. That moment is when things changed for me. Everything kind of clicked into place. I didn't have a purpose, I didn't have a destiny up until I realized that was where I was meant to be,
Mhm.
doing exactly that, being able to inspire people, not just because I have dwarfism and I'm some disabled guy. That's not the case. Yes, I have this condition, and yes, I deal with X, Y, and Z, but that's not why I do what I do. So I just spoke on Monday to a group of homeless teens. And going into it, I was a bit apprehensive because I said, how can I relate to them? How can I make sure my story and my messages are able to get across?
Mhm.
But I walked out of there gaining way more inspiration, way more perspective than I think I could share with them, because it's the people that have the least in life that are the happiest, which is very crazy. But we look at billionaires, a lot of them are absolutely miserable. Some, there are exceptions, but once we find our purpose and we find what we're not only talented in but passionate about, we have to take that and run with it. It's not about doing a side hustle while you're miserable from 9 to 5. It's not about doing it only a couple days a week if you have the ability to say, you know what, I know this is where I'm meant to be. So go and do it. Set forth, because the most valuable thing any of us have is time. So never let somebody else dictate that, and never take it away from yourself, especially.
I love that. And, it's very synchronistic. This all lined up just a few days ago. A friend of mine, she came home at night and her, I think it's her 10-year-old son, was laying on the floor with an extension cord wrapped around his neck, and he tried to commit suicide.
Wow.
And when she asked him what happened, because they brought him back at the ICU and he was okay, but he said that life was too overwhelming and he was too stressed out. And when I think about that, I think of a guy like you that's discovered his power in the depths of those hard experiences. And what would you say to somebody that's in that hard experience right now if you had to sit in a room with them and look at them in the eye?
Um, to sound a little bit cliche, it's that there's hope. There's always another way. I was that 10-year-old kid. I was the person that was in a tunnel that was one way in and no way out, just complete darkness. And a miracle didn't happen to me. It was one person telling me that they believed in me. It was one opportunity that I got that literally changed everything for me. So whether you're 10 or whether you're 70 and you haven't found your passion, you haven't found your purpose, that's okay. But I guarantee you found what you love. So do more of that. Focus on the things that actually matter in our life. Yes, there's going to be stress. And yes, there's going to be things that we have no control over. That's not going away. But what is going away are the limits that you're setting on yourself, because those are the things that hold us back. Not anybody else. It's up here that is the decision maker and the action taker. So again, yes, it sucks and it's painful. And I get that. I feel that. But what are you going to do about it?
That's a good question right there. So how do you design your day, Brandon? Because you are you're an enigma, because you have a lot of personal power. Somebody said you're dubbed the next Tony Robbins, and I see this power that he has. It's the power that you've discovered. So how do you design your day, and how do you become who you are becoming?
That's a great question. There are some days that I don't feel 17, but then there are some days that I do. And I've had to mature at a very young age, but I've really learned these past few months about myself, and that there's no point in trying to grow up too fast and trying to be a 30-year-old when you're not there yet. So, to be quite honest, I'm still discovering that. I'm still trying to find a routine, trying to find a regimen that works not only for my life, but for my body as well. I can't do something that a normal 17-year-old can do. I can't follow Tony Robbins' schedule every day, waking up at 4:30 a.m. in the morning. I tried that 2 days ago, and by the end of the day, my body was in so much pain. That was not a good way to go. But that does mean that I need to find my own answers. I need to find my own solutions. A huge message that I have in my TED Talk is don't let anyone, even a doctor, dictate the experience you're going to have. It's really about that in every situation that we face in our life. You have the choice to make something out of nothing or to let it pass by. So starting right now and starting right here with you, with everything in your life, make that choice and give yourself that power, because you're so much better, you're so much greater, and you're so much stronger than you know right now.
And yeah, and that is the truth. And I really feel that coming from you. So you do have a lot of things that get in the way, and you have obstacles. You have pain. You've talked.
Absolutely.
Tell us about some of the challenges that you have to personally deal with on the regular.
Sure. So I would say number one is the way that I'm treated by the outside world. And that was probably the largest thing that was in my mind when I was that 10-year-old kid getting ready to end my journey. I felt not only alone because I didn't have anybody that I could actually connect to, but I also felt like the world wasn't made for me, that I didn't belong there. And you know what? That's the case for a lot of people, whether you are in a wheelchair or whether you're transgender, whatever that may be for you. The world is not built for us. We're not built for the world. But once you're able to adapt and use everything that you have, even the most painful, the most negative things, that's when we become successful. That's when we become able to do anything. So I deal with daily pain. I have a degenerative form of dwarfism, and it's a pretty scary condition where there are less than 100 cases reported in medical history, which is absolutely insane to wrap your head around. So that also means that I don't have answers to my questions. What's going to happen in 5 years or in 15 years? I don't know, but you don't either. We don't have guarantees in our life. We don't have any crystal ball telling us what we are going to be. So if that's not a big enough reason for you to live every day instead of just existing, then I don't know what is. Turn what you have into something amazing. You have that ability. It's just about reaching down, lighting that match, and making it explode.
That's fantastic. So who are some of your heroes? Who do you admire?
So we mentioned Tony Robbins.
Yep.
Number one, he will always be number one on my list. But really, the people that I see having it the worst in their life, they're my biggest motivators. And they are the reason why I do what I do every day. And it's the people that have hurt me the most. Those kids that told me they want me to die. I am doing what I'm doing for them because I know it's people like that who are hurting the most, who need our help the most. So you really can gain inspiration. You can gain strength from legitimately everything around you. So perspective, that's the most important thing. It's not just about what these eyes see. It's about what you're able to gain from everything else around you.
Hmm. You know, it's really interesting to sit and listen to you talk because the things that are coming out of you are profound wisdom that could, they could come out of Tony Robbins or anybody that's actually spent their life focusing on this. And you got a crash course, and you're right there doing it. So what would you like to see happen in the next 5 years for your destiny in your life? How do you see yourself impacting people that you're reaching out to?
It's a great question. I used to have the mindset that I'm going to be Tony Robbins. I'm going to be the next Tony Robbins. But I'm realizing that the world doesn't need another Tony. The world needs a me, and the
Mhm.
world needs a you. So I'm really trying to become not number one. I don't need to become number one, but somebody that is recognized, that's a household name that you say, you know what, I need inspiration. I'm going to go to Brandon Farbstein's website, or I'm going to go to his YouTube channel. And that one video, that one little aspect of wisdom or of inspiration or of knowledge that you can share with that person, I guarantee can and will change their life. So this is my destiny. This is my calling. Again, if you haven't found yours yet, that's completely fine. But don't let yourself spend the rest of your life doing the same thing, being at the same place that you are right now, because it's about learning. We're all students of the world. So
Mhm.
take in that knowledge, take in that ability to become something more. It's not about the money, it's not about the title that you have. It's about the impact and what you do every single day that you're here.
Yeah, you're on fire with passion. It's awesome.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
I love passion because I think the goal of life is to be passionate about being passionate. And
Yes,
you obviously stumbled right into that. It's
most
like
definitely.
it's an inferno. So let's talk about the opposite though. Let's talk about how do you crawl out of the dark days
Yeah.
when the negativity is there? What is your protocol? How do you do it?
I try and find at least one thing, you know, the worst of the worst in our life. We all know that. Again, we're going to keep experiencing it. Find one thing in that that you see light in. So whether that's making yourself have humor in a situation, whether that's seeing that you're going to gain X, Y, and Z from this situation or this relationship ending poorly, you have become something more because of that. And again, it's so hard to wrap your head around why we have these absolutely disgusting things like the terrorist attack in Manchester or 9/11 or Columbine.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it's up to us to be able to spread what we have. So, what I do, my essential pill for getting out of it is helping one person, just that one person, not focusing on, you know, that one person specifically, but it could be as simple as waving to them or smiling or buying a cup of coffee for the person behind you in line. That one little thing that takes us seconds, that barely takes anything for us to do, will mean the difference of night and morning for somebody. So seriously, every single day that you can, do at least one thing to pass it on, because it's a domino effect. It starts with you, then that person, then that person. And by the time that you know it, you have created such a wave that it has turned into a tsunami. And just like that, your one simple action has changed the world.
Yeah, I like that. One of my mentors once said that someone in trouble is your doorway out of trouble. And
Yes,
you've obviously figured out how to get outside of the problem and into the solution and really be the
right.
solution for that suffering that's going on in the world.
Yeah.
So, well, how do you define your mission statement? What is that mission statement that defines you?
Let's see. If I had to put it into one statement, um, I would say speaking beyond words is really my tagline, and really something that I live by every single day. So I don't want my words to go in one ear and out the other. I don't want it to make one little change in your life that you're not going to use. It's not about that. Again, anything that I can do, even if it's having yourself wake up just 5 minutes earlier or eating just a little better, something that small seriously will turn into something so great. So use what you have, not what you don't. And if it takes somebody like me to tell you that, great. But have yourself, because you are your biggest hero and you are the person that has the ability to change your life completely.
Yeah. So, what do you want to bring to the table today? What's going on in your world that you're working on that you would like to get as a message out to everybody that is very inspirational to you?
Let's see. Picking one is hard.
Yeah.
Um, so I'll tell you a little bit of what I'm doing daily. I
Mhm.
am working to become certified by the National Speakers Association as a certified speaking professional. And anybody could say that they're a speaker or they're a trainer, they're a mentor, whatever. But to actually work and earn it, that's the end all be all. So I
Mhm.
turn 18 September 30th of this year, and I need a certain amount of talks that I need to give. I'm over 40% towards my certification. So probably by the end of next month, I will submit all my paperwork, therefore becoming the youngest to ever become certified as a professional speaker. So, if there's one thing that I could share with you relating to that, it would be At any time, anywhere, and however, you can become anything that you want to be. It doesn't take a billionaire, it doesn't take an A-list celebrity to get you there. It takes actually doing and working towards it. Something that I absolutely can't stand is when people say fake it till you make it, because it's not what life is about. If you're meant to do something or to be in a position, then you're going to get there. But to try and be somebody that you're not, you're wasting so much effort and so much energy that could be put into adding something to your life. So seriously, you don't need to work so hard for somebody that you're not. Live for what you want, what your core values are in the world, and be able to bring in people who actually add something to your life instead of ones who are constantly dragging you down and keeping your head below water.
Mm-hmm. That's such profound wisdom. It really is. Because
Thank you.
you've discovered this passion element, and you're doing what you were born to do. And you know intuitively that life will support that. And I think that's one of the biggest things that I've seen is a lot of people don't believe that life will support them on that journey.
Right.
Like, you have to stay in this box, this 9-to-5 box, because they got all these burdens that have to be taken care of every single day.
And that's what society wants us to think. You know, for somebody in my position, the normal path and the path that essentially 95% of everybody is taking is going through school, going to college, getting some cubicle job, you know, living a normal standard life. But we're not standard people. Once you do something, you've discovered it, you can't let anything get in the way of that. You can't let somebody telling you, oh, you're not going to make it if you don't go to college for 4 years and spend over $100,000 that you don't have. Listen, that's not the answer. It might be for a few people, but answers are not always there in front of us. So find out what speaks to you, find out what you fit inside. Again, you don't need to do what everybody else is doing. There's no point in that. You're not going to be happy that way. Success is what we make. Success is how we define it. And that's the answer.
Yeah, and that's incredible advice. And that's what I wish they would have told me when I was in school. Because
Agreed.
they didn't tell me that, and I had to figure that out when I was 30, and fortunately it works, like you said. I found my passion, and my world opened up, and it's such a gift. You've been given such a gift, and you are the perfect person to deliver the message because you're so from the heart, and it's powerful. And you know, they say 93% of it is nonverbal, the communication. And I feel like you move people, and that's what a speaker should do, is they should move that person to the next step.
Most definitely. And again, I mean, you said that you discovered that at age 30.
Yeah.
We, in our life, again, we have the opportunity to do anything, become anything. And especially with this in our hands and in our pockets constantly, you can communicate with anybody. You can find so many opportunities that they are endless. So if you've not found your perfect job yet, keep searching. It's one search away and one message away. The power of connection and networking seriously will take you so much farther than any degree or any course or any program that you go through. And that I guarantee 1,000%.
Yeah, that is so true. I love the message. So let's talk about, I wrote a book on allowing, and you seem to be like a master of allowing. So what does that mean to you? If somebody said, like, how do I manifest my dream life? Like how do I find my purpose? If they came to you and they said that, how do I do it? How would you help them?
You know, I'd say do more of what you love to do, because there's a reason that you love doing it. And there's a reason that you're talented at drawing or singing or closing business deals. So it might be in those parameters, but it might not. It's the most unexpected things in our life that lead to the biggest changes. And an example of that is I talked about in April 2015. That's when I started essentially my life. And that's when I was given the opportunity to share my story with 2,000 people. And that happened not because I applied or not because I went up and asked. It happened because I was in an airport with my family. This was October of 2014. And in the TED Talk, you'll see the mobility device that I ride. It's badass. It looks like a Lamborghini. So it draws a lot of attention, both positive and negative. But I had a lady came up to me and we started making small talk. But the small talk went deeper, asking me what's my purpose in life, what do I want to do every day. And I said, lady, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. I'm 15. How am I supposed to know? um, and we started talking and discovering each other's stories. And this lady ended up being one of the top TED Talk coaches in the world. And that was a huge goal of mine, to be able to be on that platform. And for whatever reason, because my sister was running a few minutes behind in packing, I was at the exact security line at the exact moment she was, for whatever reason. And everything fell into place from there. So, this one conversation by this one lady, one time, legitimately was the turning point in all of my life that led me to not only be the person that I am and accomplish what I've been able to do, but I've been able to actually start living.
Yeah. And that TED Talk you talked about, that's the one on YouTube, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is not after you've done thousands of talks. This was
That was
one
my
of your,
first one.
oh, that's what you were born to do. Because
It's something that, again,
it,
I never could have imagined the results that it would give me. But I really instantly felt it and I knew it, especially afterwards when I had so many members of the audience coming up to me, businessmen crying because of my story. And I said, why are you crying? What is there to cry about? And they said, because you've changed my life. And it was that. That is my fuel. That is my biggest motivation. And to say that you feel accomplished after that is such an understatement. That is the definition of making it in life.
yes. Yes, because you delivered in that talk exactly what was needed to be delivered to people. Because I got it when I listened to it. I got the message of personal empowerment and transformation. And that's what I picked up from that. And it's amazing because I think if that were me in front of 2,000 people, I'd be like, oh my God, I'm so nervous. But it was
Right.
so natural. It was perfect. And that's appointment. That was everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
So you didn't do any manifesting technique or anything like that to bring her into your life or anything. You were just doing what you loved and it sort of just showed up.
Yeah. Looking back, I don't think I know the events leading up to that. And besides running 20 minutes behind on when we should have left for the airport, I don't know how I got there or why I got there. But that is how you know it was meant to be. So every time that you run into something, whether it's a pothole or whether it's a curve in the journey, it is leading you further than you normally would have gone at the rate that you were going before that. That's how we grow and that's how we become a better person. So if that means that you are going to have a 6-month relationship and fall in love and end up not getting married, that means the next time that next person is going to be the person, because you know exactly who you are, you know what to look for, what you want, and what you can give as well.
I like that, how it seems it's really great because you know how to live in the moment and you have a lot of faith. And it doesn't
and
seem
that
like
took a
you're,
lot.
yeah. you don't live in a prepackaged idea of I'm going to do this and that, and then this is going to happen and that's going to happen. I know a lot of people get that way. They want to calculate every single step in their life.
Yeah. And that's not how the world works. That's not how you're going to get anywhere. Um, if you live by the book, you're going to get what everybody else is getting.
Hmm.
But being able to say, you know what, today I'm going to do this instead of doing what I've normally done, and seeing where that takes you. It might not be where you're meant to go, but at least you know that you went for it. At least you know what you want to do for the next day. There are no such things as failures. We let ourselves think that there are failures because we didn't get the results that we wanted.
Mm-hmm.
But seriously, what came from that is way more than you could ever get with making $100 or with getting a new job. Because seriously, if it means that you're not wasting 5 years or 10 years, that is so worth it. And that was worth you getting denied your job application. That was worth not being able to date this absolutely gorgeous girl. It was worth it. And it always will be.
Yeah, yeah, the perspective. It's so great. It is true. Rejection is sometimes a divine blessing. It's saving you from a lot of problems that you don't need to
Yeah,
experience.
most definitely.
You see the silver lining in it, and that attitude and maintaining it though. Like, how do you maintain that? Do you have to do anything in terms of, like, do you do any kind of breathing techniques or any self study that you carve into your day, or what do you do to maintain this level of consciousness?
Um, to be quite honest with you, I don't always have it,
Okay.
but it would be pretty unnatural and unhuman if you had one feeling all of your life, 100% of the time. Of course, we want to live a stress free life and we want to always be happy. But why do you think you have every emotion in your body that you do? It wasn't meant to be a storage for something else, it wasn't meant to not be utilized. So you're angry, you're depressed, you're anxious. That's great. That is seriously great because that means that you're living in the moment. That means that you're actually experiencing instead of focusing on the past or thinking about the future. The past is the past. You can't change anything. The future, yes, you can make changes every day and live right now to dictate that future. But if you're living in the future, there's going to be no time for what's right here and right now.
Mm-hmm. Now, how about some of the highs though? When you get really excited, let's say you have that feeling that you get when you're on stage and you know that you're loved and you're appreciated and people celebrate you. How do you ride that, or do you kind of try to downplay it so you don't get too high? How do you navigate that?
To be honest, I ride it and I see where it takes me. So I never really prepare a speech. The only time I've ever done that was delivering my TED talk. It wasn't scripted, as you saw, but
Mhm.
I needed to shape it into what I really wanted to get across. But I legitimately never have a script, never have note cards in front of me because that's not what the audience deserves nor wants. I want to know what you want to gain. I want to know how you're feeling it, how my delivery is coming across and affecting you. So if I was planning to go in one direction, but I'm feeling that the audience needs me to go in another, that's exactly what I'm going to do. Life isn't about the script and checking every single box that you think a certain event is going to go or you think a situation is going to end up being because most all of the time that's not going to be what actually is. So again, having that confidence and being able to get over that anxiety of what if. There are so many what ifs every single moment, every single second.
Mhm.
You can't change those and you can't control them. Know that, and that's okay. But again, look what you're doing. Focus on how you could go even further, become even more, because we always can. There is no such thing as being a perfect person or doing something perfectly. Nobody ever has been that or will be that. So
Right.
get this idea of perfect out of your head and start focusing on what success means to you and what you need to do to achieve more of that.
I like that. And I like that you talked about the material aspects too, because when I first started my journey, I thought, if I could just have the mansion and the Lamborghini and all these things, I'd be happy. And then I end up manifesting a lot of that, and I wasn't happy. And it wasn't just because that doesn't make people happy, but that wasn't it.
Right.
I think it was the growth and the development and becoming who I was supposed to be. That's really where my happiness came. And it sounds like you just radiate that when it comes out of you about stepping into your passion.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I wish I could, like, I heard you say it in a talk. You said, I wish I could can this feeling that you had when you did your TED talk. And I wish I could can your personal power and sell it to everybody, because it's just so powerful. It's transformative just listening to you talk. Yeah.
Thank you.
So in closing here, let's talk about some things you're excited about when you're not doing the the power thing, when you're not transforming people. What do you like to do for yourself?
I'm going to say the expected response, and listening to podcasts and watching TED Talks and watching Tony Robbins. But I really love storytelling, in the ability to not only obviously share my story, but I have a huge interest in journalism. And if my path doesn't take me to become the world's next Tony Robbins, then I'm going to become the next Diane Sawyer. That's something that I'm hugely passionate about as well. But really, my goal is to create something that combines everything that I'm passionate about, all of my talents, and not turning it into something profitable, but turning it into something productive and powerful, instead of, how do I make more money, or how do I get that Mercedes S class? Who cares? That's not, I mean, you said it best. It's not what's going to make you happy. You think that you need it. You think it's going to be the answer to all your problems. But seriously, a car or a house or a wallet is going to do absolutely nothing. Again, focus on what actually means something to you. Focus on what actually matters, whether it's the people, the things, or the opportunities that we have. We always have the ability to spend more time doing what we actually are meant to do.
Yeah. Well, I will tell you, from listening to you, I feel like this is a gift. It really is a gift, because I've gotten so much from this, just taking this in. And it was so much affirmation for me of what I've spent, years studying, that I know works for me. Just to see that you stumbled upon a lot of this stuff and more that's working for you, and how you present it is so unique. And it was so cool to hear about the synchronicities, and it really just makes me feel that more exciting now. So
yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
I feel like you convey that and you deliver it and you transfer it, and I feel better. I feel a lot better after talking with you. So I thank you.
That's why I do what I do.
Yeah.
It's that reason, that exact reason.
Yes. Yeah. And you definitely deliver. So thank you so much, Brandon.
Thank
I
you
really,
so much. This has been an amazing opportunity. And to all of you, thanks for spending a few minutes with us. Hope that we added just a little bit more to your day.
yeah. How do people connect with you before we go? Last thing, how can somebody connect with you and reach out and be part of your, circle if they want to tap into that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to spell out my first and last name: Brandon, Brandon, Farbstein, Farbstein. I am on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. If you want to watch my TED Talk, only 6 minutes long, just search that on YouTube. And my website is pretty simple: BrandonFarbstein.com. Please, if I can ever do anything, if I could ever give you some advice, give you a little bit of insight, just talk, reach out to me at any time. My door is always open, especially for people who want to become more.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Brandon. And I look forward to connecting with you soon. And next time you do a TED Talk, maybe catching it live.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, man.
All right. Take care.